Thank you very much, comrades. Thank you very much, comrades. We can start. Dilindele nje aba bazahlala phansi emveni kokuba bebelapha ngaphambili. Thank you very much, comrades. Comrade President, welcome to the Eastern Cape. I know you didn't expect to see me. Thank you very much. Comrade President, NEC members here. Thank you. Comrade Oscar Makuyane, the newly elected chairperson of the province, and all other officials here. This is just by way of critique. He will come and speak here, Comrade Oscar. Mine was just to say, Comrade President, here are the delegates that attended the Eastern Cape Provincial Conference. Today is the third day. We waited, we expected to speak to you yesterday, and we will now speak, we're expecting you to speak to us today. So here are the delegates, Comrade President, and guests to the provincial conference, and we'll ask now Comrade Oscar to come and speak to the delegates. He will do two things.
Viva ANC, viva! Viva ANC, viva! Phambili ngomanyano le-ANC, phambili! Qina ANC, qina! Phambili nge-Eastern Cape, phambili! Thank you very much, Program Director, the newly elected Deputy Chair of our province. Ingxaki laa nto yokumane kuthiwe nguconvene ngathi wolusa ihagu. Comrades, greetings to the leadership, the NEC members present here, now led by Comrade Nomvula, who's part of our NEC deployees, but also led by our president, who has just joined us. The leadership in our midst from the SABC, COSATU and SANCO, our leagues, the leadership from the mass democratic movement, including our traditional leaders and religious leadership, the delegates to our 9th provincial conference, all our invited guests and the media, molweni nonke. Maqabane izolo ibingumhla wesibhozo kaMeyi ngawo lo mhla kunyaka ka1985 urhulumente wabamhlophe wabulala amaqhawe amathathu alapha kweliphondo lethu, uComrade uSiphiwa Washe, uComrade Champion Galela, uComrade Qaqawuli Godolozi. Nokhumbula lamaqhawe aziwa njengePepco 3. Into yokubulawa kwalamaqabane yaba nefuthe ekukhuthazeni abantu abatsha ukuba balwele inkululeko. Sifuna ke ukuthi xa sivala lenkomfa yesithoba apha eEastern Cape, igalelo labo soze sililibale. Long live the spirit of Pepco 3, long live. Maqabane, ndinezinto nje ezimbalwa endifuna ukuzithetha phambi kokuba ndinike umongameli wethu uComrade Matamela Cyril Ramaphosa okokuba aqukumbele le nkomfa. Siyakwamkela President eEastern Cape. The home of legends. Ilizwi lokuqala mandibhekise kumaqabane angaphumelelanga kolonyulo besikulo apha kule nkomfa. uComrade Babalo Madikizela, uComrade Terence Ntutu, uComrade Xolile Nkombela, uComrade Andile Lungisa, noComrade Umawez Tikana Gxothiwe. Ndifuna ukuthi kuni maqabane niziinkokheli ze-African National Congress. Akho nto embi eniyenzileyo ngokuvuma xa amasebe esithi thathani inxaxheba kunyulo lokonyulwa kwenkokheli kule nkomfa. In fact, comrades, you were exercising your rights as ANC members in good standing for participating in this leadership contest. Asifuni ke maqabane nijongise intloko zenu ezantsi. Umbutho wethu usanidinga ukuze siphucule ubomi babantu bakuthi kweli phondo. Ubunkokheli maqabane kwe-ANC abuqali buphele ngokonyulwa kwesikhundla. We love you, we respect you, you are our comrades. Comrades, at the beginning of the conference, I urged all of us to conduct ourselves in a manner that upholds the statute of the African National Congress. I asked all of us to be inspired at this conference by the words of President Abe Nkrumah when he said, and I quote, "To Congress, we must be loyal and true. For Congress, we must forget any personal or sectional interest or gain. We must put the cause and the interest of the people before any expedience," close quote. Funa ukubulela bonke abathunywa bamasebe kule nkomfa ngomonde eniusingathe ngayo le nkomfa. This was the conference of branches. President, about 92% of delegates in this conference are from branches of the ANC. More than 600 branches of our province are represented here. That simply means almost every ward is almost represented in our province. Ndiyabulela ke xa niziqhwabela ndingatshongo. Kodwa ke ibonakalisa into yokokuba liyakhula kwaye liyanyelela. We were supposed to be here, comrades, for 3 days, but due to delays we had to extend to today. As branch delegates, you have displayed discipline and comradely spirit that we expect to see in all ANC meetings. Sichilo ma comrades into yokokuba kukho abantu abaqalayo zenkomfeno abatsha abaze kuba bezofunda kwi-ANC. Meetings of this magnitude are political schools. Not every meeting iba no president with such a number of NEC deployees at the same time. So you miss this opportunity, you are on your own. But I must indicate, comrades, yes, there was a tension, and it is normal when there is going to be a leadership contest. But the mood was festive throughout the conference. Comrades sang revolutionary songs in unison, and comrades also sang songs to support a particular leadership preference. Then the ngayo into yoba nisokoli ngawuqamba. Lo uqambe yakhe ingoma niyithatha niyithathele kuni ifake lyrics zenu. That was interesting out of you, comrades. Ibonakalisa into yokokuba ningamaqabane. Kulula ke izingoma ukuzidibanisa. Now that, comrades, the branches have spoken, we have one leadership collective that will lead and serve all ANC members in our province for the next 4 years. Ngoko ke kufike ixesha lokuba amaqembu kabuya noma liya aphele namhlanje. Andingokonvina undukutshe izawundazi. Yabona nami ndinibulisa lonke ukuba ndiceke uba ndivotele iphelile lo. Ubuya normally comrades were simply lobby groups for this conference. I'm trying to also brief President of what was happening here. Now that the conference is concluded, their lifespan is over. Siyacela ke kanjalo ke ma comrades sibuyele kwingoma zomzabalazo. Siphele ingoma ezijoliswe kwabaphumeleleyo nabo bangaphumelelanga kulonyulo. I also want comrades to appeal to delegates that what happens at an ANC conference ends at an ANC conference. You can't go back to your branch, your briefer, a membership about songs. Asifuni ke maqabane ukubona enye i-contest komasipala nakwi-wards zeliphondo kuba loo nto iza kulimaza umbutho, ilibazise ukuhanjiswa kwenkonzo eluntwini. Lo mncothulo niwenzayo pha mawuyekwe. Contestation, comrades, is a healthy democratic process in the ANC. Those elected comrades must lead all members of the ANC and the society that expects ANC to lead. Those comrades who did not prevail must not feel wounded. This is your organization. As the new leadership collective, comrades, we commit to build on the work of the 8th PEC to ensure that we build a renewed, united, stronger and coherent ANC in our province. To achieve this objective, comrades, we are going to need all regional leaders, branch leaders and ordinary members of our movement to work with us and support us to discharge our leadership duties and the mandate of the 9th Provincial Conference. Comrades, I'm certain all of us would agree that the renewal of systems in our organization must be done with speed. Our organization is 110 years old, therefore we should not be having challenges of holding conferences within the specified time. We must, comrades, modernize our systems of capturing membership data and perfect our logistical management for conferences to avoid the delays that we have experienced, which are not unique to our province. We have lost money, Comrade President, by postponing this conference from a date that it was supposed to sit, due to our internal organization process. It pains us because we don't have money as the ANC. The legally we have, it cannot just go like that. It is important for the NEC to learn lessons from these challenges so that when we go to the national conference, we run a smooth conference. That would give us enough time to deal concretely with policy discussions in our conferences. Makabane njengoko benchilo xa bendivula apha le nkomfa abantu beliphondo balindele lukhulu ukuthi siyi-African National Congress. We've made tremendous strides in addressing socio-economic challenges of our communities, but many masses of our people still yearn for jobs. They want us to lift them out of poverty. They want better services and development of their communities. We have a plethora, comrades, of opportunities to make meaningful change in our province as investors are positively looking towards our province. The ANC must ensure that its deployees in government do not mess things up where they lead. We must remember, comrades, that we are in the 28th year of our democracy, but many of our communities have not tasted the fruits of freedom. That means, comrades, we must be agile going forward in using state power to transform the lives of our people. The role of the incoming PEC collective will be to ensure that the ANC deployees in government, whether in provincial departments or municipalities, account totally to the ANC provincial headquarters. The PEC collective will strengthen its hold as the political center in the province and ensure all those who are in the strategic deployment do their work without fail. We have a mandate and a commitment we have made to our people in this 6th term of our administration. Comrades, it is going to be imperative for the ANC structures to interpret the state of the province address, budget speech, policy statement by MECs, and state of the municipality addresses to take our communities into confidence about what the 3 spheres of government are doing in their communities. Kufuneka siqubisene, comrades, nezifo ezifana nokuba abantu babe neempompo zamanzi kodwa amanzi akaphumi. Izinto zokuba abantwana baqale unyaka incwadi zingekho esikolweni. Nezinto zokujika kwemali ezabelwe uphuhliso lwabantu beliphondo. Kuzoba kraka ke maqabane xa abantu abathunywe eburhulumenteni bengawenzi umsebenzi wabo ngexesha elifanelekileyo. Maqabane siliphondo elinabantu abaninzi abahlala ezilalini. The vast majority of our electoral base is from rural communities. Akufuneki sibe nenhloni ngokusa izabelo zemali ezifanelekileyo kubantu abanjalo nakwiilokishi zethu. Having said that, comrades, the ANC must support its deployees in urban municipalities to deliver better services to communities so that we regain lost trust and confidence. We must, comrades, strengthen our hold in the 2 metros because they are our economic hubs, while we work to ensure that Mthatha becomes a 3rd economic hub across the country. We believe, comrades, in the 4-year mandate we have been given here, we can make wonders to change socio-economic fortunes of our rural districts. Alfred Nzo, comrades, is #1 district in the entire country. Ngentswelo, ngenhlupheko, ngendlala. Ilandelwa yi-OR Tambo, almost more than 50% of our population reside in those districts that include Jogabi and Christian. We will ensure, comrades, that the district development model is perfectly implemented by all our municipalities to ensure that all spheres of government work in a very integrated way. As newly elected collective, will advance the gains we have made in affirming youth, women, people with disabilities, and our struggling veterans. In this regard, we must see more practical programs to upskill and empower young people of our province. We must also see heightened activism to curb the scourge of violence against women and children. We must elevate, comrades, the socio-economic empowerment of women in our province. As a leader of society, the ANC in the province must also take it upon itself to work with traditional leaders to find a lasting solution to the tragedy of young boys who die in initiation schools. On average, comrades, we are losing about 40 per season. Young people who are not sick, who are just healthy, because they decided to go through this passage, they actually lose their lives. There's something fundamentally wrong with this. It is just another pandemic that, comrades, must be confronted by all of us. As we go back to our branches, let's begin campaigns around this. The next season, comrades, is starting very soon. We don't want to lose our children, comrades, simply because they have gone through this ritual. Now, comrades, we have lost young people, President. More than 1,000 young people have died simply because they have gone through this circumcision. This is a responsibility of all of us, no longer traditional leaders alone. It's a responsibility of families. Families must definitely take serious responsibility around this. Comrades, we are going to have a Provincial General Council to affirm our policy positions, but also shape the mandate of this conference. We spent a lot of time unnecessarily here, unfortunately, and we lost that time. We did a lot of work to prepare for this by holding these pre-conference commissions to look at the political content of this conference. That presentation is ready. It has been detailed. We instructed regions to hold RGCs to prepare structures and delegates coming to this conference, so that sizokwazi ukufocusa kumsebenzi olindelwe ngabantu bakuthi. Sizawusebenza kama-comrade nazo zonke i-structures ezisebenza nathi, our alliance partners, traditional leaders, faith-based organizations that are always with us to succeed in our work during this term. Mandisho, President, Pagwi ANC simane sisithi Buffalo City is the only metro that we feel proud about. Without this civil organization, this faith-based organization, aba befundisi siloko sihamba nabo, nama-volunteer ANC, I don't think we would have actually achieved what we have achieved in Buffalo City. Worse, when the ANC in Buffalo City leadership was so divided. People on their own stood up, took over ANC, campaigned for the ANC. Today we've got a metro that is under the leadership of the ANC without any doubts. We'll continue, comrades, to have an open door policy to listen to all stakeholders of progressive organizations that want to work with us. Our main priority is serving the people of the Eastern Cape and to give them a better life. Let me conclude, Comrade Deputy Chair, by once again thanking all delegates for ensuring that we have a very successful 9th provincial conference. Beke ndabona ukuphithizela lapha nokunyuka kwemiphunga namaphaphu nezibindi. Abantu becinga iziganeko zika 2017. Ndibona amaxhego esimelela uya ngasemnyango. Kwawucaca ba kukhona abadi ngokusibetha insimbi yongenisa isikolo babe bebetha insimbi yosikhupha ngaxeshanye. Kodwa iyonke lonto with the guidance of the leadership from the ANC working with us, yonke lonto macomrade yakwazi ukumanageka. President, sakwazi uku-adopta i-credentials in this conference by consensus. We didn't vote for credentials. That was a milestone. We want comrades to apologize to all of you for any inconvenience caused to various stakeholders who were here, including the media, guests, and various companies that made this conference a success. May you all be safe on the road back home to your families. We extend our sincere word of gratitude to NEC employees who were tasked to ensure the success of this conference. Nenze umsebenzi esiwulindeleyo kwinkokheli ze-NEC ye-ANC. Your guidance and leadership was on point throughout. We really appreciate your hard work and dedication over the duration of this conference. Bekungalalwa apha abanye behlala ngapha cold storage ngapha Comrade Nomvula, where there was a registration running overnight, people sacrificing. Thank you very much, comrades, for that. Comrades, let us make 2022 indeed the year of unity and renewal to defend and advance South Africa's democratic gains. President, I can assure you, even if you can bring 2024 closer, we will be ready as Eastern Cape. I want to assure you, President, even if you can bring December, the national conference, closer, we will be ready as this conference. President, we don't want esiphithiphithi senzekayo ku-ANC. ANC cannot afford this turnover of leadership. Every time we go to a conference, we are on each other's neck. We change even to suggest that even the president can be easily changed. That is not right. It's not right for South Africa. It's not right for people who are really yearning for something better in order to improve their lives. So, President, we are happy with you. Because we have spoken about this renewal of the ANC for some time. Number of conferences of the ANC have met around this, have resolved around this, but there hasn't been a leader willing to take a risk, because kukolandi phansi sonke siba nezipoho zethu. So yonke lead yoyika ukuqhokonqa inyosi ngoba ayazi bizazithini. But President, you said this is the time that ANC must be saved from us for South Africans. And you led us from there. In the Eastern Cape, we really believe, President, that the 54th National Conference of the ANC was a Damascus moment for the ANC. We're struck by that lightning. We'll never go back. We want the ANC to have another 100 years going forward for future generations. Therefore, President, the stance we have taken to lead ANC against all odds is a very, very recommended one, or commendable one, and we support you for that. That's why you, Comrade President, you must avail yourself when you are nominated by branches of the ANC. so that you can lead ANC for another 5 years. Kodwa ke uhambe in the third term asengeni. Amandla, President, I'm calling you to this podium. Masamkelo President Makabane. Masamkelo President Makabane ngengoma efanelekileyo.
Viva ANC, viva! Viva! Viva African National Congress, viva! Viva! Viva COSATU, viva! Viva! Viva SACP, viva! Viva! Long live the spirit of Nelson Mandela, long live! Long live! Long live the spirit of Umama Winnie Madikizela Mandela, long live! Long live! Amandla! Malibongwe. Malibongwe. Roar, young lions, roar. Roar, young lions, roar. Amandla. Abshe. Abshe. Dumela Sanbona Molweni Ndimadekwana I need told comrades Ndiyavuya ukuba lapha. It's very nice to be here. It's very nice to be here. akufani na kule yamini ika 2017. Ndiyavuya ukuba lapha namhlanje kusekhaya apha. There is a warm spirit, there is a wonderfully revolutionary feeling to be here. And Tia, I know what I'll say, you are a convener. You are now the chair. I want to extend my greetings to NEC members, the NEC deployees who've been deployed by the National Executive Committee to support the leadership of this province in all the work they do, as led by Comrade Aaron Mutwaledi. I extend my greetings to the leadership of our various leagues, the Veterans League, the Women's League, the Youth League, and I also extend my greetings to our alliance partners, the South African Communist Party and COSATU, and I extend my greetings to Abefundisi who are here, Namakosi who are here, if any, and various leaders of other organizations that always walk this road with us. Firstly, comrades, let me extend congratulations kuninonke as delegates to this conference. I was one of those who was watching on television. Benifuna ukuba lapha ezinkokheli ezizathi nongezi ngoku. That one engafuni ukuthi nibe khona, but no, President uzawuzamva. Don't come now. So I was marooned in Johannesburg. Ndinijonge nonke, ndinibonile ku-TV, ndinibonile, ndine-record epheleleyo ukuthi lo wayesenza ntoni, lo wayethini, and so on. So I congratulate you, comrades, in the way that you have conducted this conference, the way as delegates you have been so disciplined. It was real revolutionary discipline, and you are to be congratulated. I congratulate you, comrades, because you showed commitment and resoluteness that ensured that this conference took place. Many did not think ukuthi izawubakhona le komfa. Many thought ukuthi it is going to descend into chaos. And even the front pages of some newspapers were saying, Eastern Cape Conference descends into chaos. I am glad you proved them wrong. Because this is the resolve and determination that we need to carry us forward into renewing and rebuilding our glorious movement. This is the year of conferences and various congresses for our movement broadly, the Congress movement. And this is the year we must use all that we have to demonstrate to all and sundry, to our people in the country, that indeed we are a revolutionary movement, we are disciplined, but more importantly, that we are here to unite and to strengthen our movement as a whole, not only the African National Congress, but the entire Congress movement, because all various components of the Congress movement needs to be united, and they also need to be renewed. Now, the intensity of leadership contests at our conferences should not preclude us from moving forward as a united and strong organization. We should always remember that we seek leadership of our movement in order to better fulfill the ANC's mission of building a united, non-racial, non-sexist, democratic and prosperous South Africa. I wish to congratulate the incoming leadership as led by Comrade Oscar Mabuyane as our chair, Comrade Mlungisi Mvoko as our deputy chair, Comrade Lulama Ngugaitobi as our secretary, Comrade Helen Sauls August as our deputy secretary, and Comrade Zolida Williams as our treasurer. I congratulate you, 5 comrades, but I also, comrades, want to thank those comrades who contested them. I thank them in the manner in which they also carried themselves. That they have not succeeded does not mean that they have lost. That they were not finally elected does not mean that they are not leaders of the African National Congress. I want to say to them, Comrade Matigizela, Comrade Kompela, Comrade Ntutu, Comrade Kotiwe, Comrade Tikana Kotiwe, as well as Comrade Andile Lungisa, that you are leaders of the African National Congress. And we will always see you as leaders. Having not succeeded now does not mean that you will not be given leadership position as you move on. And I want to thank you for the spirit that you displayed, which many of us saw on television, that as soon as the votes were declared, you did come forward and congratulated the comrades who have succeeded. Thank you very much for that. In the end, comrades, the branches have spoken. You, as the branches of our movement here in the Eastern Cape, you have spoken. You represented your will and your decisions as the branches of our movement. You came to this conference divided. But now that you have elected your leaders, the decision that you have taken means that you want the leaders and yourselves to be united. You want to renew the African National Congress. I forever remember after I was elected together with the top 6 at the Nazareth conference in 2017, one delegate came forward and said, as we were all singing, and he said to me, Comrade Cyril Ramaphosa, we've elected you. Your key task is to unite this movement. Your key task is to renew this movement. And he said, that is exactly what we are going to be watching you for, whether you are going to seek to unite this movement. I took it very seriously. I took it as a clear mandate, which was being communicated by this one delegate, having been decided upon by the delegates as a body. And I want to say to the 5 comrades who have been elected here, your mandate is to unite this organization here in the Eastern Cape, now that the branches have spoken. It is up to you to assume this mantle of leadership, as well as comradeship and cadership, and take forward our program of action as spelled out in our January 8th statement. So now you know what the branches expect of you. None of us need reminding that you are coming into your leadership position at a critical time for the province, for our movement, and for our country as a whole. Our foremost task as the African National Congress is to be the servants of our people. As you are elected now, you are now a real servant of the people, to serve. We are also here so that you, as well as the entire ANC here, should be at the forefront of improving the lives of our people and the recovery of our economy through reducing unemployment, eliminating poverty, hunger, and increasing investment and economic growth here in the Eastern Cape. All our efforts and endeavors, comrades, must be geared towards achieving these objectives of the National Democratic Revolution. This becomes especially important at a time when our country and the world is rebuilding after a most challenging period. As we all know, our country has never faced as challenging a period as it is facing now. One would have said, well, we had a pandemic in 1918, and it killed many more people than COVID-19 has killed. But on top of the COVID-19 pandemic, we've had many other challenges that have been far beyond our own means or our own doing. COVID-19 has had an unimaginable impact on our lives and has caused immeasurable pain, suffering, and loss of life. And let us commemorate the more than 100,000 people who lost their lives in our country. We should also take this opportunity, as we should repeat it over and over again, to once again extend our gratitude, comrades, to the health workers in our hospitals, in our clinics, and to the frontline workers, to our police, to our soldiers, and to volunteers who served our people diligently and often at great cost during this pandemic. And let us give them a round of applause and thank them. Having said that, comrades, we must forever remain vigilant. The influenza of 1918 took 3 years. We are now into our 3rd year, but we don't know when COVID-19 will come to an end. In fact, at the moment, we are seeing a resurgence. We're seeing a rise in infections in various parts of our country, and we are also seeing rises of infections in many other parts of the world, where a number of cities, mega cities of millions of people, have had to be shut down, total shutdown with no movement outside whatsoever. Infection rates continue to climb as we enter the winter season as well, which is something that should concern us. Vaccination remains our most effective weapon and mechanism to fight this horrendous disease. We would like everyone to be vaccinated, and when eligible, those who have been vaccinated should go for their booster shots. In addition, it is important that we encourage our friends, our families, to go forward and be vaccinated. Now, COVID-19, comrades, exacerbated an already ailing economy, leading to the more than 2 million job losses just in a short period of time. Just in 1 year, we lost 2 million jobs. This has never happened in our economy in the way that it has. Even in the financial crisis that we went through, we lost a number of jobs, but this time round to lose 2 million jobs at one go has been quite a devastating impact. We saw the closure of businesses and the deepening poverty and deprivation. Whilst we're beginning to emerge from this period of suffering and economic decline, we must begin to intensify our efforts at economic recovery and reconstruction. And as we were trying to re-emerge, then July events last year happened on us, leading to the death of more than 350 people, and also having a negative impact on our GDP. And now, as we were also trying to come to terms with all that, we suffered from the floods that have engulfed KwaZulu-Natal, the eastern part of the Eastern Cape, as well as the Northwest. So comrades, we've had all these devastating events descending on us, on a fragile economy, on a population that has high unemployment rate, and on a population that is so poor. But this is the task that is then given on the shoulders of the African National Congress. It is us who must find ways and means and answers to navigate our people around all these challenges. Here in the Eastern Cape, the birthplace and home of our legendary leaders, the leaders of our movement, this is where we must exercise leadership as well as the ANC. And we will only continue to lead if we increase our people's trust in our ability to serve them. Unemployment, poverty, and inequality remain our most pressing concerns. The most recent quarterly labor force survey said that unemployment here in the Eastern Cape was 45%. And at the expanded definition, it held that 53.2% of people in this province are unemployed. Now, when Comrade Oscar Mabuyane says that one of our districts is the poorest in the whole country here in the Eastern Cape, it is true. We continue to see the exodus of skilled people leaving the province, going to other provinces because there is poverty, because there is unemployment. Young people, women, and people in rural areas continue to have the most highest unemployment rates here in the Eastern Cape. However one defines unemployment, comrades, this situation is unacceptable. This means too that too many people continue to be economically excluded. Too many people cannot provide for themselves or their families, and too many people go to bed hungry. This province is endowed with many comparative advantages and is the home to a number of industries which must be leveraged to create more jobs and to lift people out of poverty. Greater advantage should be taken of the province's strengths in a number of sectors, in sectors such as tourism, agriculture, and agro-processing. I've often said that the Eastern Cape, by right, by definition, by practice, should be seen as the bread basket of the whole of South Africa. This is where the food of the country should be produced. If you want beef, you should come here. If you want mutton, you should come here. Kaufuni Haku, this is where you should come. Upper Eastern Cape. This should be the home of all the food that the country produces, including maize. But it isn't so. And this is what we now need to change around. It is admittedly the automotive capital of the country, but of the entire continent. We make more cars here in the Eastern Cape than anywhere else on the African continent. And that in itself is a great endowment and a great capability. Now, The floods that we've just had have brought to bear the reality of climate change. And one says this because the impact that they've had in the eastern part of the Eastern Cape has been quite devastating, leading to the destruction of infrastructure and many other installations. These floods and other severe weather events such as droughts, which you have experienced here in large measure, show that parts of the Eastern Cape are more vulnerable to the impact of climate change. The province is duty-bound to dedicate greater resources to climate mitigation. And I've listened in the past and during even the political report presented here to Slalo. He speaks about climate change like he has become a world expert. Yena lo Oscar Mabuyane. He has immersed himself with great knowledge on climate change, but in doing all this mitigation, we should be looking for opportunities for greater job creation in mitigation programs and other parts of the green economy. The Eastern Cape government, together with national government, must also move with greater speed to address the province's poor and aging infrastructure. There are plans and programs in place to improve the province's road infrastructure, and these must be accelerated. I listened intently as the Premier, as the past convener and now chair of the province, upromotiwe kaloku lo mntu. Benimjonge apha ku TV ejuluka. Wayejuluka ngoku he's not sweating anymore, yabona. Wayesoyika ukuthi kuzenzeka ntoni na. Now in him, comrades, in him you have as a province a very, very committed advocate, advocating at a national level, at various other forums that we have, in PICC and many others, that the infrastructure built in the province must be improved. And I agree with him, it must be improved, including, he never really stops talking about the roads in the province, and I have seen some of the roads, and that is going to be an area of focus for us so that we can improve the roads in the province. Yes, he's continuously also talking about a project where we had sod turning more than 10 years ago. The dam that is supposed to be built. The dam that I have also spoken about. He talks about it to me all the time. And I keep saying, dear, leli dam lizawakiwa. It is going to happen. So comrades, the focus as we move on. And I say this advisedly because you've got a new leadership. The leadership that is going to have to focus on the economic turnaround in the province with infrastructure built and ensuring that we come up with a number of ideas and plans to create jobs in our province here. Comrades, as soon as we put the proper legal framework in place for the commercialization of hemp and cannabis, Lenzangu ekona eninzi apha e-Eastern Cape, we will be able. You know, you are a unique province. You can be the bread basket of the country, and you can be the cannabis center of the whole country. Now, as soon as the legal framework, which is being worked on, is finalized, we expect that the Eastern Cape should be at the forefront of the industrialization of cannabis and hemp production here in the Eastern Cape. Now, conservative estimates hold that the country can create as many as 130,000 jobs in this area, and many people in the Eastern Cape can stand to benefit when we begin the industrialization process. And we intend to do just that. We must ensure that commercialization does not disadvantage the small and subsistence growers of cannabis, and government will put in place mechanisms to support and protect the small and subsistence growers as well. Effectively responding to the challenges facing the Eastern Cape and our country, in particular with regard to creating more jobs and fighting poverty, it requires a strong and united African National Congress that is committed to serving our people. Now, comrades, the tasks that we face require that the ANC in the Eastern Cape should be united and unite behind the leadership elected here. We must do so regardless of what our leadership preferences were. Now, with this decision that you have taken as the branches of the ANC, I would say, comrades, if we came to this conference divided, if we came to this conference being factions, if you like, if we came to this conference having different perspectives, all those differences must now melt away and disappear. The factions must now be collapsed. The groupings must now be collapsed. Ingasabikho lento ukuthi le group kaMabuyane, le group kaMaDikizela. It must be a group ika African National Congress cha kwaphela. Now we must do it for good effect. Even for those comrades who have been elected, we expect that they are not going to be railroading other comrades out of positions. Ingabikho lento ukuthi abantu bazawukhutshwa kuma positions because abakhethwanga. It must be unity in action. It must be unity in action, because this is how we are going to prove that indeed we are serious about unity and renewal. It is important, comrades. Yaniv, kwangathi anivumi lento. Niniva kakuhle. Kodwa my task, comrades, my task is to ensure that, yes, it is unity in action, but it must be principled unity, not unity for the sake of unity. It must be principled. We must be able to work with each other, promoting the values of the African National Congress, promoting integrity, and making sure that the African National Congress can regain the trust that our people used to have in it. Now, it is important that members of the ANC debate and discuss policy proposals. Now, because of the challenges that you had with credentials and all that, you were not able to devote as much time as you wished and wanted to discussing the political content of this conference and the policies. But there is hope on the horizon, because you are going to have your PGC. and your PGC is going to give you sufficient time outside of a leadership contest to debate the policies that should drive this organization going forward, in preparation for the policy conference and also in preparation for the national conference. So I expect that you will devote time, because the Eastern Cape, comrades, is known as the intellectual hub of the African National Congress. And we want to live up to that. So, Slalo, we expect that you will devote enough time to discuss all those issues. The policies that we put forward must give hope to the people of our country that our movement is still the best agent of change. The people must be convinced that the ANC is their best agent to create a better life for all. I've been looking around and I have not seen a better agent to change the lives of our people. So at your discussions at the PGC, yes, do delve into policy discussions so that we can confirm that indeed the ANC is the better agent. Let us remind ourselves of the words of Comrade O.R. Tambo when he said, "It is only as a united force that we can move forward. It is as a united people that we shall be victorious." Your task now is to continue uniting, renewing, and rebuilding the African National Congress for a stronger province. It is important that we renew and rebuild our organization to equip the movement to better adapt and respond to the changing world and to the challenges that face us. At the same time, we must also renew our movement to deal with the negative tendencies and practices that have crept into our movement over time. The 54th conference, comrades, reminded us that we must demonstrate our commitment to renewal and fundamental transformation. It went on to say that we must shore up our capacity, honesty to identify and correct our weaknesses and revitalize our public image. The Nasrec conference explicitly said that we cannot just issue bland reassurances that are then negated by the very conduct of the leaders and members, as this worsens the decline of our movement. Ill discipline, factionalism, and other deviant tendencies continue to plague our movement. This movement must be principled and be more decisive in dealing with instances of ill discipline, the sowing of divisions, and other ills that bedevil organizational ethos and processes. Where anyone is found to have manipulated, for instance, organizational processes, or where votes have been bought, let us deal with these decisively. Where necessary, acts of criminality must be reported as well. Let us have a broader discussion about what qualifies an ANC member to be a leader of our movement. Yes. The time has come, comrades, for us to develop more explicit rules about the types of conduct that disqualifies a person from becoming a leader of this movement. Our leaders must be the most advanced cadres of our movement and be exemplary in their conduct, in their integrity, and in their commitment to our people's cause. The ANC in the end is far bigger than all of us. No one amongst us is bigger than the ANC. No one. Ungaba ngu-president, okanye ube ngu-chair we-province, or the chair of a branch. Let me tell you now, you are not bigger than the African National Congress. The African National Congress is far bigger than all of us. Now, the critical thing that everyone in the country is looking at, and let me tell you this, the whole country has had its eyes on your conference. Throughout the days that your conference has been going on, everyone who's been listening to radio, who's been watching television, has been having their eyes on this conference. And that is why I am so delighted that you were able to prove those who thought that you would have a chaotic conference wrong. We showed them what you are worth. Now, what we should now do as a membership, we should also demonstrate to our people that, the view that they've had of the ANC, the view and the suspicions they've had of the ANC is completely different to what we are. We must demonstrate that we are the leader of society. We must demonstrate that we are, as the African National Congress, committed against corruption. We must demonstrate to them that we are an organization of great integrity, particularly here in the Eastern Cape, because you are a province of legends. The legends of our movement resided here. So, comrades, as we demonstrate and prove, we must at all times place the interests of this glorious movement before our own personal interests. We must be able to show all and sundry that we are putting the interests of our people ahead of our own personal interests. If we can do that, 2024 can come closer, and it can even happen now, because our people want an ANC that has integrity. Our people want an ANC that is going to serve the people of South Africa, because as they look around, they find that there is no other that can serve the people of our country like the African National Congress has served. So, comrades, let us live up to that. Let us serve our people. Let us demonstrate to them that what we went through in 2017, when we went through that whole process, a cathartic process of looking at ourselves, that we are beyond that. We are renewing ourselves, we are uniting ourselves, we are becoming a better and more effective African National Congress. Today, this weekend, you have proven that yes, we can be that ANC. We can be that ANC where even as we come to conference with differences, we can be that ANC where even as we come with different leadership preferences, we can unite, elect a leadership, and we can adopt our credentials by consensus without getting our conference to be a chaotic conference. What you have done this weekend, comrades, I want to assure you, what you have done is quite phenomenal. You've done something that is quite historic. Yabona comrades, abantu abaninzi xa besijonga, they begin to dismiss us, but ANC is chaotic. What happened in 2017 is going to happen again, and nothing good will ever come out of that conference. and all that and all that. Let us continue proving them wrong. Let us show them that yes, we can run our organization effectively. Yes, we can run government effectively, that we can govern and serve our people. This is the ANC that our people want. Let us give that ANC to our people. And this weekend, you have shown us visions of that future. And I thank you, comrades, and congratulate you once again for having a very successful conference. Very, very successful conference. Diabule. Amanda, Yabule.
And that is President Cyril Ramaphosa in his capacity as the ANC president, closing off that conference in the Eastern Cape. And one of the most key things that he talks about is the fact that comrades that have been elected must not railroad others out of positions. There must be unity and renewal. And this is coming at the back of some of those concerns that were raised by others, that there may be a purge of those that did not support the, what has been called the slate of the now chair, Oscar Mabuyane. And he says that it is going to be important for leaders to unite in that particular province, also going on to talk about the fact that we cannot continue talking about reassurances as the ANC, as he says, and I'm quoting him, and he continues to say that people want action. They must deal with factionalism. They must deal with the divisions. And he also talks about how this particular leadership now has the mandate to unite the ANC in the Eastern Cape and also look at the branches. Remember, the president, when he was tabling the January 8th statement earlier on this year, was talking about how this is going to be important, the issue of addressing what is going on at branch levels. And we also saw what even happened with the Dr. W.B. Khubusana, process that even made its way to the courts at the weekend. So definitely lots of work is going to need to be done in the Eastern Cape when it comes to the branches. And the president even talking about how it is going to be important that the ANC in the Eastern Cape is not divided post this particular conference. And it's going to be important that they sing from the same hymn sheet. In fact, they need to do away with some of the issues that were plaguing them going into this conference. They need to make sure that they shut off all the groups of, that were lobbying for the different leaders going into this particular conference. So a key message of unity, a key message of renewal, but a lot of concern, though, on the ground still remains, even from those who are on the other side of the fence, complaining about, what they're worried about when it comes to the purging. So definitely it is going to be interesting to watch as to how this particular, issue of unity plays itself out in that particular conference. So let's continue then and give you some analysis. Francis is standing by to give us a sense of some of the developments and even the behind the scenes of this particular conference. Francis?
Indeed, thank you very much, Bungi. We're now joined by political analyst Dr. Ntshikelelo Breakfast. Dr. Festival of Chairs, where the members